What's good, YouTube? This is Flan Speaks back for another video. This video is brought to you by me, the maker of these videos. At any rate, I wanted to do a segment that I'm going to call Real Talk. Real Talk. And this is going to be the first one officially. And we're going to do this probably once a week. You know what I mean? It's just a summary of kind of what's been going on in the sports world and everything. First, shout out to my Philadelphia Phillies, who's still in first place. They had a rough one out there in Colorado yesterday. It's good, though. My boy's still the best. Philadelphia Eagles, shout out to y'all. Hell of an off season. I expect dominance this year. I expect a no-fly zone in that secondary. Them two young gunners, cornerbacks that we picked up. CJ, GJ back. I don't know what they're going to do about the other safety, but, you know, whatever. Heard Devin White is looking like a beast in OTAs, you know, in training camp. Come on, man. And Dak Prescott still ain't get signed. Any rate, looks like, man, we're going to get a finals with the Boston Celtics and possibly the Dallas Mavericks, you know. So that's going to be good. We're going to finally put it to rest. Luka Doncic versus Tatum. I always felt like that's a tough matchup there. Doncic is the better offensive player without a doubt. Tatum the better defensive player with the offense. So it's a matter of, is Tatum that much? What's the bigger gap? Tatum and Doncic defensively or Doncic and Tatum offensively? You know what I mean? To decide. And then who's the clutch player? You know, comes down to those elements. But it's going to be a hell of a series. And then you got Kyrie Irving going back to Boston, a place with people that he can't stand. Sage in the place, acting like they got a bunch of jinn and a bunch of evil spirits over there, right? So, that's going to be a great finals, man. And I'm glad, you know, that it's someone different. It isn't the same old, you know, LeBron, KD, Steph Curry, even though I love all those guys. But it's something new and fresh. So I expect a good finals. So what's been the main talk, as far as talk, not just the games, but the main talk? It's been this whole situation with Caitlin Clark and the rise of the WNBA. Very fascinating. I want to just talk about this, try to shed a little bit of light on it, just opinion from one guy sitting in Philly, you know, talking to the world for whoever will listen. Now, there's a couple of subjects here. One is the WNBA and its watchability in general. You see, there's this growing narrative and opinion that I think that's very prevalent amongst, especially amongst men and probably amongst women as well, that the WNBA, you know, is a bad product. And because it's a bad product, it's struggling to make money and take care of itself. It's in debt. They don't bring in enough money to pay the players. So on and so forth. I'm sure you've heard that. Now, part of that is factual, of course, and that's the part that's telling us that the WNBA hasn't been profitable. Okay? But I want to discuss the other part about it being a bad product. I've recently just started watching since this whole draft class came in. Caitlin Clark is part of that. She's not all of it, but she's part of that. Like I said, like I told you guys, I was familiar with Angel Reese first because I don't follow women's college basketball. I haven't. You know, the only times I would is when there would be like a rave about a particular player or a particular team. Like I remember being young, I remember hearing about Cheryl Miller. So then, you know, once that happens, then you'll tune in and watch a couple of, you know, USC games. I remember hearing about Shamiqua Holesclaw and the Volunteers at times, right? So you tune in. I remember hearing about Maya Moore, there's certain times, and this here is one of those times where there was this girl tearing it up in college from Iowa. Like, who watches Iowa basketball unless you're from Iowa, right? But that's what some people heard of. Me, even if it's a little bit of buzz, I'm not going to pay attention. Even if I'm, say, watching Sports Center one night and there's a girl from Iowa just scores 40 or something, I still may not care because I'm looking at like it's women's basketball. I'm just being honest with you in terms of the way I previously viewed it all. It's not something that interests me. My interest first came when the whole fiasco came about just seeing the image of Angel Reese mocking Caitlin Clark during the championship game. And the outrage that came about as a result of it, all over the place. Angel Reese was called all types of stuff. Ghetto. I've heard slut. I've heard all types of stuff that is just heinous. Okay? This caused me to look into it a little bit. Like, what is this about? So, I look into it a little bit, and I see, okay, I see what this is. I see what this is. Now, it may or may not be good for our country, but it's great for basketball because basketball is a sport, as we know. People are just playing a sport that means nothing to anyone other than those playing, typically unless there's some story behind it. It's just the way it is. Rivalries are what sells because rivalries give you the best competition. You have groups on one side that want to see one thing happen and groups on the other side that want to see a thing happen. So after that happened, this whole season, honestly, you can call it the Caitlin Clark Revenge Tour. That's what that was. That's why this thing picked up so much steam, because I started following it now. It's Caitlin Clark Revenge Tour. Beat LSU, and then get the title. That's why you really didn't hear a whole lot about Caitlin Clark, especially on the major networks, until they played LSU. Caitlin Clark drops to 41 points, had the iconic game. Was it the 41 or whatever? I think so, but whatever. She has the crazy game. Angel Reese actually had a good game. I think she had a double-double, damn near 20 boards, 17 points, something like that. But so she showed up, man, like she ain't show up. But Iowa was able to win the game. And that's when you saw the day after on the major networks. This is when Acho got in hot water for going hard at Angel Reese. This is when, images of her crying, all over the place. As if she's crying because she lost to Caitlin Clark or something like that, right? So you had different narratives being perpetrated about that. So that's when all of that happened. We're just picking up steam for the rivalry more. As far as the media is concerned, they're going to take these things and run with it. Boom. Make it something real crazy. So, I don't agree with the idea that the WNBA isn't watched because it's a bad product. I believe most people are ignorant of what that actual product is, probably due to lack of, on one hand, lack of promotion, and on the other hand, a lack of interest from the segment of the population that needs to be targeted. And that's the male population. Why do I say that? Because here, according to a 2024 survey by St. Bonaventure and Siena Research, okay, we know these are colleges. This is college research. 61% of American women identify as sports fans. So if you go up to them and ask them, are you a sports fan? 61% will say, yeah, I'm a sports fan. Compared to 81% of men. So 81% of men are sports fans, whereas 61% of women identify as that, okay? But also another survey found that 50% of women identify as casual sports fans. So if you have 61% of women that identify themselves as sports fans, but even out of that, 50% of them identify as just casuals, compared to 40% of men would call themselves casuals, 42% of the 81%. Wow. Of the women that consider themselves avid fans, you know what an avid fan is? Meaning, I just gotta really watch everything, I'm loyal, I really check. They say 15% of women identify as avid fans. Avid. Like like me, right? That really watches them all, is really into it, that's really paying attention to stats, numbers, all of that stuff. 15% of women identify as avid fans compared to 44% of men. That's significant. Why? Because the reality of why the WNBA hasn't thrived and prospered is because women don't watch sports typically. I'm not going to say they don't at all, that's hyperbolic, but what I'm saying is they don't really watch sports like that, like men do. And for a sport to really thrive and to have staying power, meaning not just be popular for a moment, but to have consistent staying power, you have to have avid fans. You have to have avid fans. You have to have homers. You got to have fanatics that are buying jerseys, that are buying merch, that are buying season tickets. You know, you have to find a way to do that, and the WNBA by and large hasn't been able to do that in its history, at least consistently. And there have probably been moments here and there, you know, but that's the problem. And then even what I've been noticing now, as I've been paying more attention, as I'm starting to see more WNBA players kind of on commercials and so on, I noticed that the commercials typically are during WNBA games. I'm noticing, you know, that doesn't pull people to the league. I think that's strange. Now, there was a couple times where I've seen who I know now to be Kelsey Plum. I didn't know it was before on like a commercial with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I remember maybe, and I always wonder who that was. I'm like, that must be a player or something, right? But I didn't know who that was. I just knew it was a female who was there with Giannis, and I think, and now I know who that is, and I see why she's on there. She's a phenomenal basketball player, without a doubt. Been watching her. Anytime Kelsey Plum is on, I'm watching. She's phenomenal, right? But at that time, I didn't know. That's my point. There's something wrong with the way they're pushing it, right? That's on them. The other part is with men. Men, we gotta say, a lot of us growing up, we just aren't kind of used to seeing sports as being a women's thing. Well, at least I can speak for me, where I'm raised and so on. But generally, sports is seen as like a men thing. Generally, women, you know, are into other things, and this isn't completely off. Like if you're talking about on the average, of course there are outliers, but on the average, women aren't really as enthralled with what sports provides the way men are. Men, by our nature, you can study. There's different ways of looking at it. I'm into a lot of esoteric Eastern knowledge and stuff like that. But if you read a book called The Superior Man, for example, the author talks about this. He said that men are, what men are interested in, what thrills us, is competition. You know, men are made for things like war, conquering, dominating. This is just some of the needs that we have. You know, maybe it's the testosterone. I don't know, but that's more so what gets men excited. So men love to see competition. One go at it with the other, one defeat the other. This one comes back, and you know, that's what we like to see. Women, most of them, there are always outliers, but women typically love to see, you know, love. That's what the women want to see. They like a love story. They'd rather sit down and watch something like a movie like The Notebook or Silver Linings Playbook over watching a game, just in general. It's just part of the psychology, the two sexes. So men are kind of wired to see sports as a male activity thing. Even growing up, in most houses, women, a lot of times girls aren't pushed to play sports. Usually men are. Now boys are. Now there can be outliers. Like I said, there's always outliers. There's always the soccer moms that like to push the little girls to play soccer, and I get it. But for the most part, that's why men don't really watch women's sports, right? And if they do, they might do it and keep it secret, right? Like for example, like say you have a man who watches the WNBA, for example. He might watch it, but then how many buddies does he have we can call up and be like, yo man, did you see that the WNBA game with with the Aces against the Sparks, for example? He like his homie gonna be like, bro, I don't wanna talk about that. Man, like, let's talk about Dallas and let's talk about such and such. I'm just giving you this really how it works. So the average man who does it, he's like, you gotta kind of keep it to himself, unless he's the type that doesn't care. It's just not something. It's not a topic of discussion for men. It's just not that. So that makes it a tough road to climb for the WNBA, because either they got to get more women to kind of become interested and invested and go watch, or somehow men got to kind of change the way they are, which is tough either way, because our psychologies are just different. You see, a lot of men are up on a certain type of arrogance. These are the younger guys, where women's sports is beneath them a lot of times. And I got this from following. There are sports channels on YouTube where guys just talk about sports, and the host he'll try to bring up the WNBA, and then it'll devolve into something else. Man, nobody want to talk about that shit. Like some of the callers will just say that, and then for them, but they'll jump on the gossip stuff about Caitlin Clark being quote unquote hated on, which is an absolute fairy tale, at least from the players. It just is, and you guys running around with that should be ashamed of yourselves. They'll jump on that because they have a lot of pent up psychological, traumatic baggage from their relationships. Because most of them have relationships with black women. Because I'm talking about sites where it's blacks talking. So they have all these pent up black girls that done left them. They done had these failed relationships. And from that, they developed a certain psychosis. So they'll jump on that and just say, oh yeah, man, they hating on Caitlin Clark and so on. Which is sad. It's sad because, first of all, you're airing out dirty tribal laundry on YouTube. It's number one for everybody to see. And then number two, you're not dealing with the problems that you have psychologically. You're not getting the mental health and attention that you need. Whether you need to go see a psychologist, maybe you need to go see your priest, need to go see your imam or your sheikh or whatever, but you're not dealing with it, and that's bad. Just on you, it's a bad look on you, and it's a bad look on us as a tribe. So there's that. Now, me personally, why I was not a WNBA fan has really very little to do with those things. The thing with the issue with me personally is that I'm a homer. I am. When it comes to all the sports I like, what helps me get behind it isn't just individual players or anything like that, especially a player from afar. I'm a homer. I'm Philly. So my teams are the Eagles, Sixers, Phillies. I don't really watch hockey, but you know what I mean. If let's say the Flyers in the Stanley Cup and the whole city is going Flyers, I'll just join in. Yeah, you know what I mean. I wouldn't know what's going on, but I'm like, yeah, you know. When it comes to college, Penn State fan, followed by Temple, but I'm really a Penn State fan. College basketball, Villanova, without a doubt. But I also support the other Big Five. LaSalle, Drexel, St. Joe's, Temple, all right, the Big Five around here. It's a big thing. Used to be way bigger before when I was younger, but Nova fan for sure. So you get my point. There is no WNBA team in Philadelphia, so I've never had like a team to root for or a reason to watch. Like that's me. I'm a homer. So there was no reason for me to watch. Is that didn't have a rooting interest. But since the new situation here with Clark Reese and all of that got me into just watching out of curiosity. I've come to see other players from the Sun, Carrington. Carrington plays exactly the way I like a basketball player to play. Carrington plays exactly how I like a basketball player to play. You construct a basketball player, DJ Carrington, that's what I like. That's what entertains me. Defense, dog, constantly moving, annoying, can score buckets, but that's my kind of player. Like Kelsey Plum, amazing, entertaining to watch. People talk about Caitlin Clark. Like, listen, y'all be happy if she could be 70% of Plum in the league. Like, and this is what I'm saying. Like, and it's not hate on Clark at all, but Clark is a rookie, and Clark has some things to work on her game, like most rookies. The only problem with y'all put her where she isn't yet. All rookies have something to work on. For her, she has to work on being more productive, going right. And what I mean, I hate breaking down the games. I don't like going in on young women, right? But she has to be an elite scorer, to average 30. You're not going to average 30 by just shooting step back threes. It's not going to happen. When you're going because the players are going to take that away. They're too good. So then when you drive, you got to have a hezzy pull up. Take mid-range shots. When you go into the rim, you got to do more than just go and put it up stoically. You have to, add a Euro step. We haven't seen that from Clark yet. We haven't seen a Euro step. We haven't seen a floater game to elude defenders. We haven't seen post game, right? We haven't seen a number of things from her for her to be put into the elite scorer category in my book. I don't care about the average 28 in college or 30 in college or whatever it was. No, I'm talking about to be an elite scorer at the highest level. You have to have a multi-dimensional scoring bag. It's an absolute requirement. All the great scorers have it. Kevin Durant, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, even Steph Curry, okay? And now Steph Curry, you see, he doesn't have the bag some of those others have. But Steph Curry is so great off the ball. He'll make up for it, right? He can create his own shot, as we know, with all of that Steph stuff. But he's so amazing off the ball, right? So Caitlin has to either add that, which I'm not seeing yet either. Right, and it takes time too. There's development, there's chemistry with the teammates. There's a number of things that have to be implemented, okay? But what I'm saying is there's no benefit to anyone in being denial about where her game really is. Sitting here, being in denial and acting like her game is somewhere else, and then you want to blame the coach, you want to blame the fans, you want to blame the damn, you want to blame the water boy, you want to blame the damn the fit, you want to blame the damn court, you want to blame the net, you want to blame the refs, you want to blame the damn the hardwood. You people are going to drive yourself crazy. All right, the best thing to do is embrace the truth. Okay, she's a rookie. Let her be a rookie. We look at where Kelsey Plum is. Right, she's an amazing basketball player. She was just as prolific as Caitlin Clark coming out of college. Matter of fact, that's the one whose record Clark had to break, right? So she's arguably just as prolific. She was averaging 30 points a game. She comes to the WNBA, but she didn't come with all the fanfare and all the hype and all the craze. Probably because she didn't have an Angel Reese to mock her in front of America, in front of white America, to be honest. Didn't have that. So she comes in, my point is she comes in and she's able to be a rookie. Play limited minutes, 8 points a game in the beginning, and slowly worked up to where she is, and now she got the speed of the game down. She can break down anybody. She can pass. She just is an amazing player. And Caitlin has a chance to go have the same progression, but she's coming in with all this pressure put on her. Even now, I'm reading in comments and people are saying, "Oh, they have to build the offense around her. They have to just do it." No, let the game just come to her. She'll be fine. She's a natural ball player. She'll figure it out. But everything can't be just. See, either it's gonna be about the fever or it's just gonna be about her getting off. You know, that's what you got to decide. Would you rather her not be like, for example, would y'all like this? Let's say she is the number 2 scorer on the team, but the team is winning half their games, or we're gonna force it to where she's the top scorer and on the team, the top assist getter and everything, and lose more. You know, that's what you got to decide. That's what you got to decide. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man. It was good talking to y'all the first time doing this, man. Just some real talk with Lance Speaks, man. Get with y'all later. Peace out.